Hello my lovelies, Robbie here at Kickback Garage. Today I thought I'd run you through how I make my own motorcycle cables. Something you're interested in? Grab yourself a coffee and I'll see you after the intro. Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
Markerte det med regn, alle sprang I lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt I frak, hvorfor valgte du å dra? Hvem I faen kunne se den komme, da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde bradlet oss sommer.
Right, welcome to my very untidy, but very brightly lit up workbench. I just have to give you a little, check out that. Yes, thank you very much. I really have to, before I start, I really have to say thank you so much for the guys and girls who donate to the channel by buying merch or by buying me a coffee. That meant that I could get my light fixed so I can actually see what I'm doing. Right, well, this method, what I want to show you today, maybe I should get my face in the camera or something, but at least you need hands. What I thought I'd show you today was how I at least make my own control cables for motorbikes, and I also use the same method for my choke cable on Lambrettas when you fit a bigger carb, because most of those don't really fit, do they, out the box. Now the big thing, if you think cables are terrible for Lambrettas, then go out, buy yourself a BSA Triumph or Norton, order a standard cable for your standard bike, and 9 out of 10 times it's not going to fit. Now the reason why I'm forced to make my own cables at the moment is because my clutch cable last year, it snapped, and as a roadside fix I used one of these what they called screwy Turinians. Someone help me please. But so I just did a roadside fix by fastening it to this, and it doesn't look very nice, does it? And it is, as it says, a roadside fix. Anyway, I digress. Let's crack on, and I'll show you what I do. Right, first off, if you go on the internet, on YouTube, whatever it is, you'll see that most people recommend one of these solder pots, and they also recommend lead. Some people use tin instead of using standard solder. But yeah, I went to the trouble, bought one of those. I've been messing around, I've used that for loads of things, but at the end of the day I found out that actually just normal soldering wire works really well, and I'll tell you why. The reason why normal soldering wire works well when you're making wires is the fact that I have this tool from Venhill. I've had this for a while now. I've used this to make various wire ends, and this is, what's it called, birdcage tool or something like that. Basically what you do is pop the wire in the slot here, so that it's the same height as this jig, and then use a punch, which has a hollowed end in the top, you can see that. And what happens is when you punch this down, dunk, then it makes you a nice little tidy bird's nest, or like a round ball if you will, at the end. And the reason why I say that it doesn't matter what type of solder you use is because it's actually the bird's nest that holds the wire in place on the nipple. Now today I am making myself a clutch wire for my BSA, and I have bought swivel head nipple, which is 10mm, which fits my lever really well, and I will be soldering this to the wire, and this slots into here like so, and you've got the end of the wire or the cable. Now if you're still watching and you're into your Lambrettas, then I really recommend this type of wire when you're buying your kits. BGM now uses this type of wire because The ones that are soldered at the end in this shape, they tend to bend, and they are very like coarse in your lever. So these make a much better brake and clutch cable because they got smoother action. Right. So what I have to do first is get my cable, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to clamp it in my. So look, this incidentally is 2.5 millimeter cable. I've already made my new outer, which is there, and what we do is clamp it. Just have to have the right size. I think it's that's 2.5, I reckon. So we'll put it there, and what you do is line it up to the top, and then fit the other one. Fit t'other one, lad, on t'other side, like this. Line it up, like so. Slot it into my vise, if it will. Like so. I like to make sure it's just flush at the top. Tighten up the vise. Take the correct corresponding punch, which is this one. Place it over the hole and just give it a bit of a tap. Ooh, wonder what that looks like. Right, let's have a look. Oh, looks very nice, very nice. And as you can see, I've got a Barbary mess. I wish this camera would stay in focus. I've got a Barbary mess on the top of this wire now, and it's actually this what prevents. So I reckon if you don't use solder at all, then this will probably stay pretty much in place. But obviously solder will fill in all the gaps and make it a lot more stronger. That's why I believe that you don't really need to use any fancy gadgetry. You can actually just use soldering wire. And what I've been using is actually soldering wire that has been used for testing squishing engines. Then I slide the nipple up to the top. I fit it back into my tool, just for ease of holding. Get up there, you bugger. Don't do that, my lad. This way you don't, it's just for an extra pair of hands. Like this. Get up. And just to keep it in place while I solder it, I like to just crimp down that nipple a little bit. Using my trusty Knipex. Hang on a second, get up there, you little bugger. That's stuck. Over to stage 2. Then I dip my ball in flux. Just need it at the top really. Because what I do with the soldering iron, if you haven't got a pot, is actually heat up the wire from the bottom just by touching it with a soldering wire. And then after a while, and it takes a little while if you're just using the soldering iron, the flux will melt through the nipple and it'll start to bubble. The flux just ensures that the solder fills all the gaps and holes. There she goes. And just as a quick reference, I thought I'd show you how the solder pot version works. I got some slag on the top of my, which is, don't really want that, do we? Some impurities that are burnt off. And so this is the lead solder bar. Just melted up in the pot there. So what you do is basically the same, just dip it in your flux, your nipple, kind of little bucket. Dip it in your lead solder pot, like so. Stick it in some coolant. And there you have the shiny nipple. With this being lead, that's probably not a good idea to breathe in those fumes. But anyway, does the end nipple fit? Yes, it does. And then you got it. A new cable. Right. That's the other end complete. On the clutch side, let's see if she fits. And there you have it, perfectly fitting cables. Now, apart from the mishap that I dropped the adjuster on the gearbox side, between the gearbox and the frame, and I had to fish it out with a wire, otherwise, all hunky-dory. Now, that's it for this video. I'm going to crack on. I also need to adjust my front brake cable and make a new cable there as well. And I'm actually thinking about, because the adjuster is all the way out on this, what's it called? Valve lifter cable. I think I'm going to do that as well. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one, where it's all about the golden boy Lambretta. Don't forget, if you like this channel, do the old subscribe, thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra!